Hi, I'm Mario Guerra, the two-time former mayor of the great city of Downey. And I'm here with my co-host, Eric Pierce, the editor of the Downey Patriot. And you're watching the Talking Downey with Mario
and Eric. Hey, Mario.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. We have a guest here.
I know. It's always nice when we have somebody here.
We have somebody else to bounce things off of us. So,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, folks, we started this series that we're going to have all the candidates for the Downey City Council on here with us. We didn't tell them the questions, but we're pretty friendly. We want them to talk about what the issues that they have, why they're running, why they're the best candidate. So we're going to be fair. We've invited every single candidate. The majority of them have accepted. We'll do a whole show on the ones that haven't, But Horacio Ortiz Jr., thank you for joining us here this morning.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I really appreciate it.
So now you're running for what district?
District 1.
District 1 is where?
South side of Downey.
Southeast Downey. Southeast Downey.
So this November we have two elections in Downey. Sir. District 1, Southeast Downey, and District 3, Northwest Downey. Two separate elections. You have to live within the districts to vote.
Right.
And so we're just trying to, we thank you, Horacio, for being here, because we want voters to be as educated as possible when they go to the ballot box.
Yeah. And we're going to be very fair, but this isn't a gotcha show. We're not trying to dig into your background or anything like that. But the Downey residents should know who you are as a person. By the way, so this seat is vacant now because of Assemblywoman Blanca Pacheco. She was our mayor last year and got elected to the assembly, so of course resigned this seat. And she's endorsing you for this seat, so that was a big coup on your part.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity. I remember inviting her to have lunch with me, and then I asked Blanca, I was like, hey, Blanca, can I have your endorsement for your seat? And then she was like, I've been waiting for you to ask me for this endorsement. So
That's
great.
great.
I don't think I will be running for her seat if I didn't have her endorsement.
Horacio, so tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running.
Well, a little bit about myself. Once again, thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. My whole life has always been about public service. Since I was a little kid, my family was taught us about helping others, helping certain communities out. I still help out my retreat that I go to every year called Kairos. We help youth get acclimated to their new life, adulthood. We also help homelessness. We go to TJ to give out clothes and blankets for homeless people over there, or people that are living in those encampments. And I was always involved in some type of community outreach outside my community. And just recently, I wanted to give back to a community that has given so much to my family. And so I became a planning commissioner for the city of Downey, and then I got involved more often, and now I'm seeing myself running for Downey City Council District 1.
What do you do for a living?
My family and I, we own El Pescador restaurants. So 1983 was the first restaurant we owned, so I own the one in the city of Montebello.
Okay.
Great. So now, full disclaimer, I was appointed by Councilman Hector Sosa on the Downey Planning Commission, and that's when I really got to know him. So I am on the Downey Planning Commission. Horacio's our chairman. Was voted unanimously by our Planning Commission.
Thank you.
So, but I wanted to bring that up on there just so nobody's on there. Yeah, we serve together in the Planning Commission, and I enjoy working with you on there. So what type? So tell us a little bit about District 1. We talked about how that was Blanca's district before. So what type of improvements do you see are needed in your district?
Well, I've been door knocking for the last two and a half months. It's been a while. So I've been speaking to a lot of residents, and we all feel that we have the same issues facing District 1. It's an increase of crime in District 1, increase of homelessness in District 1, and lack of attention to District 1. One thing that we've been talking about is the city approved a $30 to $40 million budget for our streets and road improvements. And majority of District 1, we don't see those resources allocated to District 1. So it's important that we have a voice up in City Council that can bring those resources back to here in District 1. Development, quality of life, streets, a lot of people racing down the streets. So it's a lot of those major issues that we're facing in District 1.
Good. And that's a good follow-up time question on there. So what do you see as the biggest issues facing the city of Downey overall?
Well, the biggest issue that I've seen so far, I've been in the Plan Commissioner for the last 2 years, and then one thing I've noticed is I think there's a huge divide within our council. I still think it, and I'm not afraid of saying that. I think I said that during my appointment. that there's this huge division. And I think nowadays politics have been so divisive. You either super red or super blue, and there's no compromise.
Yeah.
And I hope I can be in that council to be that voice of reasoning, of compromise. We all want the same things. We want good schools, safe streets, good businesses. So that's one major issue that I think we face in our city, that if our elected leaders are not able to work together, nothing's going to get done.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I think that we're facing in our city is a lot of vacancies. And our department heads, our own police department, we're facing vacancies. And so I think once we fix everything on top, everything else will work, fall together.
Horacio, you mentioned earlier homelessness. How would you address homelessness in Downey?
Well, one thing I'd say to a lot of residents about homelessness, there's two categories of homelessness, or that's how I categorize it. There's one side of homeless population that don't know that there's available resources allocated to them to get them out of the situation, the help that they need to get out of them. And the other half that don't want to get help. They're okay living this life, they get free meals and everything. So I think what the city council went through the right direction. They have a homeless coordinator. And it's making sure this coordinator can really bring all his resources outside and bringing into our city, so that we can get a lot of these homeless people the help they need. And so that's one thing I want to make sure that I work alongside with the homeless coordinator. And I personally think one is okay, but I think two will be helpful to address this situation, because it's getting a lot worse than better.
Okay. So, Horacio, so on the Planning Commission, that's the interesting thing about you. You actually have a voting record so people can see where you voted. Any of the things that you feel very especially proud of in the Planning Commission?
I think one thing that we both did when we were in the Planning Commission, it was a random moment. I was at D.C., Congressman Robert Garcia invited me to D.C. To his inauguration. And I met a developer there, and I was just saying hello to everybody. And then within our hellos, I told her I'm the planning commissioner for the city of Downey. She's like, "Oh, well, I have something to tell you about." And then she's like, "Never again am I going to open a business in the city of Downey." And I was like, "Wait, hold on. How did that happen?" And then she told me she owns the property on Downey Avenue and Firestone. And she said, "I've been working on that project for the last 5 years." And then so that project. Once I came back from DC and I spoke to my colleagues, that was we went against staff's report. So that was one. But I think the biggest thing that I think I'm proud of during my planning commission, it was early on in my planning commission, is I was the only commissioner who voted no on Ojos Locos. It was one of the first meetings I had, and I felt I was against the city, the staff, and my own colleagues. And it was just, I was like, I thought I was going to go into this meeting, I was like, this is going to be an easy vote. But no, I was the only one I did not think this was right for our community, for our city. It was not part of our core family values. And it's right in front of Downey High School, right next to where families live. I just didn't understand why this is an okay for our community.
Would you ever support marijuana dispensaries in Downey?
Of course not.
No.
Plain simple. I think Bell Gardens just approved marijuana dispensaries, and I just don't think that's okay for our community.
Got it. I want to talk about a little bit, not to keep harping on homelessness, but part of that too is housing. And there's been a push in other communities to build more density in Downey, or within, busy corridors, within their communities. Can you talk a little bit about housing in Downey? What would you support more housing in Downey? More, townhomes, condos. How do you see housing in Downey?
So I'm pro-development. So I want to make sure that I bring in more development to our community. Unfortunately, the state is mandating us to bring in more housing. I think our RNA numbers are 6,500 new homes in our community.
In a built-out city.
And so it's I don't think it's right that the state is telling us what they think that we need as a community. But living in Downey is not cheap. It's very expensive, and I think we are pushing away young entrepreneurs outside to other areas that are more affordable. That I want to live in Downey. I want to always live in Downey. it's a little expensive for me to purchase a home right now for a home in Downey, and a lot of young leaders feel that too, or young entrepreneurs, like they can live in Downey. So I think by being more development, we get more development. I'm sure that we can allow them to stay here and seek somewhere else when the OC, Long Beach, or other areas.
Yeah. So, Horacio, so what makes you the best candidate? Why are you the best candidate for the seat?
I think compared to my other people that are running, I think one thing that makes me different from the rest is that I have the experience under my belt. You know, they don't have the experience. I've been working for this for the last 3 or 4 years. I've been getting to know other elected officials outside of Downey because I wanted to prepare myself. I didn't want to go in and put my training wheels on and start getting to know people. I truly wanted to go in already knowing other people that I can work with so we can tackle these issues, because the issues we face here, we all face it. You know, other local cities face the same issues. So I wanted to make sure that I can go in, speak to other city council members, speak to our supervisor, Janice Hans, speak to our Congressman Robert Garcia, and it's a first name basis. It's not getting to know you. So I think it's really important that whoever is up there is well known and we can work together. So I think that's why I'm a great candidate. I'm not going in not knowing anybody and unexperienced.
You mentioned some of those in endorsements don't get you elections, but it's something about you. So your top endorsements, I think some of those people you just mentioned.
So I'm endorsed by Congressman Robert Garcia, Senator Bob Archuleta, Supervisor Janice Hans, and our Blanco Checo, who's also endorsed me.
Great. Good. So any last words that you like the Downey resident, Downey voter on there to know about you as we end this part of the show?
I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time with me, and hopefully November 7th, you guys can please vote for Horacio. If you guys want more information, please follow HoracioForDowney.com.
Okay, great. So again, we're going to do one of these with each of the candidates on there. We're going to do a special show just on our thoughts about the candidates, but this is your opportunity. We're going to do this with everybody else. So thanks for coming on. It's always enjoyable, and thanks for answering our questions. We told you, and we're conversationalists, Eric and I, we don't do gotcha questions. We don't do on there. We want the people to make their own determination. I think they got a good sense of who you are today.
Yeah.
So any last words?
No, thank you for coming on the show. And I'm all about educating the voters. I want people to make informed decisions. I don't even care who you vote for. I just want people to vote based on knowledge and what they think about the candidate. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it. All right. So folks, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching Talking Downey with Mario
and Eric.